In the final run into a competition, we look to eat less because the training goes down as we look to taper, be more recovered. So we're in that phase at the moment, which means that we're weighing ourselves every morning, making sure that our weight doesn't just shoot up because we're carrying on eating huge amounts of food when actually we shouldn't be, because we're no longer doing the big mileage sessions. But it's the same sort of stuff. It's carbohydrates and protein and getting plenty of hydration. It's all pretty simple, and it's not like we have a very specific diet laid out for us. But there are some basic sort of rules for how to eat healthily, which are, anyone who's interested in eating healthily will know the same sort of things, and we try and stick to that.
In terms of nutrition, we actually try not to change when competition time comes around. We try to be consistent, and our philosophy is don't do anything different on race day. So we just are very consistent in our nutritional intake.
So what do I change about my nutrition? Probably not very much. I try to avoid anything unusual, anything I've not eaten before, or anything I know that doesn't go well with me.
When I started training, I think the biggest changes to my nutrition were just eating more in general and making sure to eat enough protein.
We don't have a specific nutrition plan, but we all try to have a balanced diet. And because obviously you're trying to optimize your training, and you can only get the most out of that if you also eat healthily.
My usual breakfast when it's an early morning is 4 Weetabix with semi-skimmed milk and sultanas, and maybe a bit of smoothie and some water. That's my first breakfast, and the second breakfast is maybe cooked breakfast or porridge or something along those lines.
First breakfast is just either toast or cereals, something light so I can stomach it during training. And when I get back from training, I love to dig into a typical English fry-up.
So yeah, again, which breakfast? The first breakfast is quite a tough one. It's at 6 o'clock in the morning, and to be honest, you just don't feel like eating. Well, I certainly don't. So I tend to just have a very small bowl of porridge and black coffee, just enough to get me going, get me through the first session, and afterwards I'll have something a bit more sustaining, some eggs on toast with baked beans, maybe some fruit.
I like to eat eggs. Scrambled eggs all the time. It's one of my favourites.
So yeah, occasionally I do allow myself treats. If there's something like good apple crumble going by, I'll have a bit, but I have a history of overeating with the wrong kind of food. So I tend to be very disciplined about it.
I definitely do have treats from time to time. We train hard, we use a lot of energy, so I think the occasional dessert isn't going to do any harm. But I am really looking forward to a few things after the boat race that I've been saving up from Christmas.
I do allow myself some treats. I'm not averse to having a bit of chocolate or some sweet stuff or a nice fry-up, but in moderation. And I tend to think it can only be so big a proportion of the total calorie intake, because I find it quite a struggle to eat enough. So I think if I'm eating all the sort of rice or pasta or lean meat or fruit and veg that I should be eating, I can allow myself the odd, whatever it is, cookie or whatever.
Nutrition is vitally important to any sport. Rowing is cardiovascular based, it's endurance based, the muscles need to be fueled. Make sure you get plenty of carbohydrates, balance that with a little bit of protein, but don't forget the vitamins and minerals. Eat your veg.